Hello everyone. Well, today I would like to take you through a short presentation of my journey that I've been through while researching on my topic, that was importance of conservation of the environmental resources in a luxury hotel in London. The aims and the objectives of the research were to identify what were the environmental resources that were being stressed and used, or rather the environmental issues that hospitality industry was facing. And secondly, the resource consumption rate, that is the rate at which the resources were used, consumed, and which of these resources were stressed more or used at a higher rate. How these resources can be used efficiently, so which this can benefit the hotel as well as the environment, and what are the measures that a hotel or the organization can take to conserve the same. And lastly, the benefits, what would be the benefits to the hotel and to the environment if the conservation from the conservation activities. Why this topic was important to me, or why I selected this topic, was because ever since I started to understand what ecosystem was, I've always come across news like the temperature rise, global warming, deforestation, and ozone layer depletion. This showed that there was a lot more taken from the environment and very less or negligible amount was given back. So this had an impact on me, and there was kind of an awakening from within that yes, there should be something, or at least the sunlight should be put on such issue was the topic, and that made me select such topic. The benefits that Gore would experience if it practices conservation, and firstly and the most important was the financial benefit. Resources, they do cost money, so obviously every amount saved would obviously benefit financially. Secondly, it can be used, the conservation activity can be used as a one of the competitive strategies to stand apart in the market. Then it can have government incentives, it can claim for government incentives and have some recognition that would again make Go stand apart from the rest of the market. Then safety and economic turbulence, that is when at the times of recession or economic turbulence, everything like the prices go high, resources they are scarce, and that's why if Board is already in conservation, it can definitely benefit or rather give some stability at the time of recession. And lastly, that people or customers who are into conservation, those will be definitely satisfied, and it would be easy for them. It would be easy to retain them, and yes, obviously they would spread a word of mouth. So, in turn benefiting the board. What was easy and what was difficult while doing the research? Well, it's obviously easy to point out the mistakes of others or catch somebody doing something wrong. So yes, it was easy for me to spot out where the resources were wasted. It was easy for me where the how much resources were wasted, to spot the wastage. But at the same time, it was rather difficult to provide a solution or an alternative for the same. Secondly, while selecting the candidates, it was not at all a problem because it was just under one roof. That is, the candidates were from the same organization. So it was quite easy to select them, but conducting the research with them, getting them organized, asking for their time was a bit difficult. And most importantly, balancing work and studies was a bit difficult, which did in turn affect the consistency and the continuity of the research. that was conducted. Well, how was this research achieved? The research was achieved by reviewing the literature present from the academic journals like Emerald, Cornell, etc. Reviewing the literature from the website, books, and newspaper, newsletters, etc. Research process. The research process was carried out mainly in two steps. One was the primary research, which was the basic one, and the secondary. Primary was carried out on following four bases like direct observation, focus group, structured interviews, and questionnaire. Why was it worthwhile? Rather, was it really worthwhile doing or putting in so much effort into such topic of research? And I would definitely say yes, it really was, because first and foremost, it gave me self-satisfaction and inner peace that yes, I've at least done a research, or I've at least known something about the wastage or the conservation, or rather something which I was always wanting to do. And as and when I progressed with the research, I did come to know about the different ways in which resources are wasted and many more ways in which they can be conserved, which I was unaware initially. So obviously it was an addition to the knowledge that I possessed. And the other side of the issue, that is why certain hotels, they don't do certain things, or why do they do things this way or in this manner? Why conservation was so difficult, or why is it so easy for some properties? Everything was understood and a close encounter with the issue was achieved, and that's why I would definitely say it was really worth the effort. It was found out from the research that yes, there was an awareness amongst the people or the organization about the conservation, but it wasn't sufficient enough, and therefore the importance that should have been given to it wasn't there. People or the organization, mainly the HODs, they did hesitate to practice conservation activities unless and until they sensed some benefit for the same. And mainly their focus was financial benefit. So yes, they did lack the importance for the conservation, and therefore the motivation for conservation activities wasn't there. And areas were like, even the areas where the resources were wasted on a larger scale were found out from the research. Well, how would this activity or this research help me in career? Well, first thing, I would like to say that this going green or conserving activity is definitely not a trend which is going to vanish sooner or later. But yes, this will stay lifelong, as it is the need of the present and the coming future. So definitely soon it would be and it will be a legal requirement. So therefore, having understood the different ways of conserving the resources, and having understood where the resources can be wasted easily or where they are wasted easily, it will definitely help me to advise the companies or the organization I work with. It will definitely help me to advise them and guide them through the conservation activities. So yes, it will prove to be a boon, at least for my career growth. From the research, it was concluded that it is important to raise the conservation awareness or the conservation of environmental resources, and which will definitely benefit the hotel, the environment as well, and it will ensure the customers they are satisfied and make sure they come back, or the retention of the customers. It would ensure the customer retention, and mainly it would ensure that the resources are available for the future generation. The change in perception. Well, change in perception. While I was working, before I started to work on this research, I was of view, or I had this firm belief that no, whatever is not eco-friendly or whatever is wasting resources has to be stopped or dealt with high penalty or severe punishment. But as and when I progressed with the research, my firmness shook a little bit, and gradually, yes, I was softened, because then I understood that it's, then I came to know the real picture of conservation activities, rather why people do not, rather why organizations do not conserve resources, what is so difficult for the conservation activity. That is, exposure to reality was there. Then that's why it did give me a feel that no, there should be a concession, or rather at least a chance for those people should be made aware of how to conserve the resources. And therefore a practical vision was developed regarding this topic, and finally I understood that stopping everything wasn't the right solution, and therefore there was a huge change in my perception. For areas of further research, that can be, should conservation be made compulsory or no? And are there any drawbacks, or what are the drawbacks of going 100% green? And things that could be done differently is like a large-scale research can be carried out, and including several other properties as well. And yes, so comparing the practices that of the organizations, a set standard can be, or a general SOPs can be set. The development that I experienced personally, well, before I talk about the development that I had experienced personally, I would first like to thank Mr. St. Louis for guiding me throughout the journey of this research, and it was a pleasure working under your able guidance. And so thank you once again. Now, the personal development that I experienced was patience. There were times that yes, it did bother me. The research activity did bother me. It did make me lose patience. But then finally, when I realized that it's of no use being impatient, so finally I had to give in, and yes, the patience was achieved. Then definitely it was something new that I learned, something which I wasn't aware of into depth. So definitely, in addition to the knowledge that I had, then simple thing like I learned to write a thesis, learned to motivate myself, self-motivation, which is definitely an important thing, which I can say right now after experiencing it. So yes, self-motivation was achieved, and many other things such as learning some professional skills, grammatical skills, having an addition in the vocabulary and things like that. And finally, yes, I can say that I did mature as a person. Well, future and further personal development needs. I think like I did develop, but things which I can develop on are like channelizing my efforts. So I did put in effort, but I think if had I channelized them, it would have saved a lot of time and energy. Goals, did set some goals, tried some were achieved quickly, some took a long time. Then yes, a smart goal should have been set. That's what I think. And try and meet the deadlines. This was something which I should definitely concentrate on, because meeting the deadline was definitely a biggest challenge. last but not the least, I can say that yes, all this, all the effort that I've put in was really a worthwhile experience for me, and it was really an achievement that I can be proud of.